Yep. Well, it isn't on Amazon Prime.
What's that?
City Hunter.
Yes.
So we decided to watch the Netflix original version of City Hunter, which is based on a classic 80s anime. I believe it's also a manga, but I've seen a few episodes of the old anime. Although this was Daniel's suggestion just because it looked interesting, and he was correct.
Yeah. I'd like you, yeah. I'd heard of the manga and I'd heard of the anime, but I'd never partook of either one of those. My only exposure to City Hunter is the Jackie Chan version, which was god awful.
So my friend group and I decided to watch a couple episodes of it,
Yeah,
and it was a situation where there were four of us, and you know how it is. It's like you're usually gonna have somebody who isn't as into it as everybody else, but might just like try to exercise some veto power.
yeah.
And the one guy just didn't enjoy the madcap insanity of the anime series as much as the rest of us did. So he that was kind of his kibosh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Arco Sloth asks another Netflix anime adaptation. How bad? Ah, you see, the difference is that okay, so there are two types of Netflix anime adaptations. The Western style, which you either get like a One Piece, which is pretty good, or you get Death Note, where you wonder what the hell the creators were thinking.
Or Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that right. It's more miss than hit, folks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
or you get this one that's actually made in Japan, which doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a huge success, because there's like this adaptation phenomena in Japan I've noticed where and I can't. There's like a few Gundam series and a few other ones that do this where it's like they go, okay, so we've come out with the season, fans really like it. Let's make a movie that is basically the first season on a fast forward with better animation.
Yeah, yeah.
Or in the case of some of the live action stuff, like the live action Full Metal Alchemist, that's the first season on fast forward but with live action.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Uh, this one is not that.
Yeah.
This one feels like they took the general plot of at least the early parts of the anime and turned it into a coherent story.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by that. Yeah, so the series or the movie, I should say, follows uh how you pronounce it? Ryu
Rio, I think.
Rio, yeah. Rio Saiba, uh, the AKA City Hunter, and he's a like a private investigator, and he is a he's a as they say in Japan, in ecchi
Yes.
or a hentai.
Yeah. Lupin the Third would tell this guy, "Okay, man, I like girls as much as you do, but calm down a little bit. Come on, jeez."
Yeah, yeah. Yes, he's been hired by this woman with nice what do you call them,
Sweater puppy. Like, he called her
sweaters.
sweater puppies. Like, he didn't actually know the name of this woman who hired him. He just called it. He kept calling her Miss Sweater Puppies, I
But
think.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's hired by Miss Sweater Puppies to find her sister, and of course which is the sister makes it a lot harder for them than they were hoping for. And of course, helping Ryu is his partner, uh, Hideki Morikama, Makimura. Um and of course, they're not successful in finding getting the sister, and then but then they see that she's dropped a couple of vials of blue liquid, and but then of course his partner, the partner goes off to, because he's got to have dinner with his sister because it's her birthday, and I think it follows like I said, I don't know much about the anime, but the partner, so spoilers, um the partner ends up dying. He gets killed, and then the younger sister decides she wants to work with City Hunter to find out who killed her brother.
Yep. And I did. Okay, so this is my bad. This is my bias. After I watched the movie, I said to myself, so the guy's original partner is replaced by his younger sister. I wonder if that was in the original or if that's a Netflix thing. It was in the original,
Oh yeah,
I'm jumping at ghosts here at this
yeah,
point with
yeah.
Netflix adaptations, but it,
I will say this movie treats it a lot better than the Jackie Chan version. The Jackie Chan version treated it almost like a joke.
oh man.
Yeah,
And that is one thing I really appreciate about this movie is that it does take itself the right amount of seriously.
yeah. Which fits with a lot of anime when you think about it in this kind of genre, where it's like, yeah, there are some silly humorous moments, but then they are managed to fill it with the moments that take its that get serious and do it well.
Right, like the hero is often a goofball who does ridiculous things, but when the moment calls for it, he serious is up and the bad guys are in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, and that's definitely true in this movie.
Yeah, because it is sort of a classic noir trope here because, oh, the person he hired was lying to him.
Yeah.
I think since this is new, we're gonna safeguard the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So to kind of go into some of the production sides of this, the lead actor Ryohei Suzuki, the man is in exceptional shape.
He is. Yeah.
Considering he's older than both of us.
How old is he? Is he?
In 2024, he was voted the best actor in Japan in their 40s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He doesn't have born March 29th, 1983.
Okay.
He's known for his fluency in English, though he didn't really get an opportunity to show it off in this movie.
No, he didn't. It was mainly well, he did there was one part where he said before he jumps out the window, what did he say? Doing my best, or
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But he manages to play a maybe multifaceted is the wrong term for it. He manages to display a good range that fits the movies. I would call this like an elevated B movie. It's like it's you could put this in theaters, but it's not like, I'm trying to think of an example. Directing wise, this isn't like, say, a Eastwood movie where there's going to be a lot of like avant-garde things. It's just like it's kind of just if the shots feel like they do their job,
You're right. Yeah.
which puts it ahead of a lot of Netflix movies we reviewed.
Yes.
There was actually one we were looking at a few weeks back. It was like this drone war movie with Russell Crowe. That was a
Yeah.
Netflix original. And I got 20 minutes and said, I'm out. We're picking something else.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because it was the one time I hadn't started watching something yet, and you're like, you said, if you haven't started watching this yet, let's just punt on it and then watch something else. Like, okay.
Yeah, I forget what we chose instead, but it was a much better choice.
The Menu, I think it was what it was.
That's right. That's right. Because yeah, like a lot of Netflix movies don't feel like real movies. They feel like something you would have on in the background of another movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they have that straight to video feel to them.
I know, so you kind of bit back the word quality.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, a lot of straight to video movies are very good movies.
Yeah, it's a valid distribution strategy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Rest of the cast. So I'm always going to have a disadvantage analyzing a Japanese language actor or actress, just because unless they're like really swinging for the fences with the emotionality, I am going to miss nuance because I'm reading the subtitles. Also, did you watch this in Japanese, right?
Yes, I watched it in Japanese. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure there is an English dub. I cannot comment as to its quality because I didn't check it out.
Yeah, I didn't either because I just it didn't seem appropriate,
Yeah.
for this, kind of live action dubbed can be really hard to watch because there's just
Yeah.
it's just there's
And
a disconnect. Yeah.
probably one of the better live action dubs I've seen lately was Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
And even then, it just like there were like moments where it didn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
I think it's because in a cartoon, the sound quality doesn't necessarily have to mix everything with everything around it. Or it's,
Right.
or it's like if you have like the original special effects and everything, it is harder to, and like everybody's different height in the vocal booth or the recording booth or whatever. And,
Yeah.
and the fact that you're in a recording booth instead of in the actual like sort of environment that the actors are recording in, you're gonna have some disadvantages.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, back to this movie.
Yes.
Um, I thought the plot works. The plot works well for what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Uh, like it's nothing revolutionary, but it's satisfying. Uh,
Yeah.
the setups are paid off. Um,
Yeah.
it does. It's interesting how they do a very good job in the first action scene of setting up just how over the top this is. Like,
Yeah.
like okay, Rio is like a superhuman. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh, I mentioned earlier there's a Venn diagram between this movie and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
He does a similar scheme where he ends up accidentally riding an inflatable out of someone's bathroom and using it to soften his landing on the street below.
Yeah. uh,
Amusingly, the over-the-top anime adaptation actually has kind of the more plausible survival scenario
oh,
compared to Indy.
yeah. uh, yeah, and the other thing too about Rio is that he's a he's a bit of an exhibitionist.
Yeah. Exhibitionist and sex addict.
Yes. Yes, yeah. There's a scene where he has his stash
Yes.
that she
And he
throws out, and he's like,
and,
no.
and he keeps using what must be some sort of Japanese onomatopoeia or something. There's this great book I recommend that everybody check out, or great lecture series from the great courses about Japanese cultural history.
Yeah,
And apparently, one of the things that they say in Japan is that, like, okay, every language has onomatopoeias for different things, like, right?
yeah, yeah,
Japanese has a lot of them, and apparently some Japanese people say, "Oh, well, we Japanese people are attuned to nature. We're attuned to the sounds around us, so we hear these noises more clearly. So that our onomatopoeias are correct,"
yeah,
which is just sort of a charming little thing to say.
yeah,
But as far as where I was going with that is, he has an onomatopoeia for pitching a tent that he keeps using throughout the whole thing that they don't really translate,
yes.
at least not directly.
Yeah, he says it, and then the word is in the subtitles, but yeah, they don't translate it. Yeah,
Like, I think you have to you can pick it up from some context, but still, it made me feel like I was watching 2000s fan dub or fan sub, where it's like we refuse to we refuse to translate the words keikaku and nakama because sure they just mean plan and comrade respectively, but they don't have the nuance. So we'll keep using the Japanese word, which has no nuance whatsoever, for the English speakers who are watching this.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, jeez.
Other things that kind of surprised me, they have a lengthy scene at a convention, and I think they must have just gotten a bunch of convention goers to appear in the movie. Um,
Yeah,
I kept thinking, are these real costumes? Because they keep looking vaguely familiar. And then there's someone dressed up as Yang from Ruby.
yeah,
Like, okay, these are real costumes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they probably had like an open casting call for cosplayers, just like, hey, show up
Yep.
to this, and wear whatever you want.
Yep. Yeah. outside of those elements, I think that we can leave again, this is pretty much brand new, or at least, yeah, it's like a year old.
Yeah, it's less than a year old. Yeah.
So I think that unlike with some of our other movies, the statute of limitations on real spoilers has not gone out yet. So I would just say if you're up for a crazy, dare I say, horny experience,
Yeah.
like this has that sort of middle school horniness that associate with a lot of anime productions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, give it a go. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Yes.
I wonder if they'll make more of these because
Yeah, I don't know.
they've set up a series here if they want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends on like how viewed the movie was, and and I'm also kind of curious of how popular this movie was in Japan.
I don't know. I went to a speech recently at SakuraCon where a guy did the history of Japanese television. They actually have pretty low penetration rates for streaming,
Hmm.
in part because they've done a very good job of making sure that broadcast TV is like well supported, and the TVs have built-in DVRs effectively to help you easily record TV. What a concept!
Yeah. Who would have thunk it?